Hold on. Hi everybody, my name is Jenny and welcome to my channel. I just bought this beautiful piece of property. We waited 3 months to close on it, and this channel is going to be the story of my journey from vacant land to a sustainable living home, as sustainable as I can get it. I'm living here in New York, and it's going to be the smallest possible home I can make that can be supportive of my needs as somebody working from home, and also to grow food. I'm kind of overwhelmed right now. This is my first day on the property since I purchased it, and it's so beautiful. This is Kiva. She is my best buddy here, and she was, we'll talk about her story later, but this is really special that she can be on the property today too. So a little bit about myself and why I'm doing this. So I grew up when I was very young in Ohio on a land where we grew most of our food, and as a child I felt like it was like we were self-sustaining, and of course the reality is different, but my parents did instill to me the idea that you can raise your own food. And so over the many years, I've always had that in the back of my head. And a number of years ago, I was living in Colorado, and I decided to join the tiny home movement. And I lived in a 10 by 10 cabin, and it was a hunting cabin in a campground, as a way to see how small a living space I could be happy in. And I loved it so much that I purchased a camper, and I rebuilt the inside of it to suit my needs, and also it was a way to learn about construction and tools, and that was even something I enjoyed, and I loved it. And so I started looking for a property, and life changed, and now I'm here in New York, and I love New York. And there's many things I love about it. I might make a video here and there about some of the reasons why it's good for my health, but essentially I have a great job in town. I'm a biologist. I work in a laboratory, and I'm also a hypnotist, and that's where the working from home comes in handy. And so I've been looking for a peaceful place in the forest to be able to have a home office and allow my clients to have a safe place and a peaceful place for their appointments. And also I needed to find a place where the growing season could sustain the plants that I want to grow. And so for this property, I would like to grow apple trees. There are some apple trees growing at some homes up the hill from here. I also plan on cultivating oyster mushrooms and maybe some other varieties, but I'm going to start with oyster mushrooms, which I have gotten some success in my apartment, and elderberries, and those I also have the starts at my apartment, and I can do a video on that later. But I'm very anxious to move my garden out here. I also chose this property because I wanted land with flowing water, and the hillside uphill from me, there's a big cemetery, so I know there's a lot of surface runoff, and the way the soil and the topography and the rocks are here, the water hits an underground, under subsurface layer of rock, and kind of funnels that moisture in my direction. And so I do have a way to irrigate on this property off the culverts from the road. Also, I'm behind me. There's a private road, and that ends at the Hudson River. And I've got a large river, one property over, and a land conservation area that also has fruit trees that produce fruit. So I've got fish and kayaking and boating available. Also, this property is full of nut trees, so there's definitely hickory nuts and possibly walnuts. So I took some photos of the leaves and the bark, so I could make a positive ID for sure. But it's just a producing piece of property. It's built on a special layer of limestone that's got fossils in it that I studied in college. So I'm excited about that, and great rocks for rock walls. So I won't go too much on about it, but essentially it's a great place for me. And so this channel is going to be about my journey of turning it into something that can be produced. And also, I'm a newbie, so the people watching my channel can learn along with me, and I'll find, I'm sure, tips and tricks. For instance, my father taught me how to use a chainsaw, so I'm going to see if he's willing to do a video on that, and at least I will, and about things to know and not to do with the chainsaw. Tools, how I get my tools economically feasible. Just you can learn along with me and enjoy the journey as well. And Kiva will be my special comedic entertainment, I'm sure. And I'll also put in a few videos about what's going on at what I call my Apartmentstead, which is my studio apartment in town. And that's where I've got to do a lot of little construction projects and things like that, and I've learned quite a bit on that process. So with regards to building the tiny home and the apartment, I've really been able to learn to make use of space. So what I'm looking to put here is a 25 by 30 foot steel building that I'm going to use just the most modern, latest methods, efficiency, for instance, using sand as insulators, solar panels, that kind of thing. So yeah, so come along on the journey with me, and you know the drill about liking and subscribing, and it'd be very nice to get some ad revenue from this site, but really I want to be able to document this for myself and for my family who's far from me, and this way they can see what I'm doing out here, and also I can watch it for myself and learn from it. So if I do this again on another piece of property, I'll have wonderful feedback. So take care, and maybe help me out with some names. I don't know what to call this place. So yeah, I'm excited on going on this journey. All right, take care.